Y'all don't even want to know the whole argument we just had backstage. God. Hi, I'm
Listen,
El Teddy, the sane one. Okay.
I'm really B, the actual sane one.
Lord.
I don't know what he thinks, but I'm telling you what I think. We Anyway, we're gonna ask the people one day because the people need to know. What's up? How are you doing, Doc?
I am well. Busy but well.
Busy but well. That's great. That's great. I'm
Hmm.
glad to hear it. I am a little busy as well. Grades were due yesterday, so you already know what that was. So
Grades were for
just for
progress
progress
reports.
report, yeah,
Progress reports.
progress
Mhm.
reports, yeah.
Hey, you see, I was like, wait a minute. Progress reports. I got you.
Now I wish it
Mhm.
was the end of first quarter, but I'd be like, yes, yes. Funny how time flies. Okay.
Mhm.
So listen, you guys. Over the weekend we sort of had a special edition. I know we haven't been here in a while. Um, Listen, we might have to change the day on you guys because Wednesday seems to be the day when all of my meetings are at work. And don't point at me. Don't point at me. Don't do that
Now I'm poking you.
because so we may have to change the date to Tuesdays because Wednesdays just have become really hard because at least 2 Wednesdays out of the week I have meetings and it may be more. So Tuesdays might be the day or something like that. But either way, y'all, we'll let y'all know. Y'all let us know. Okay. So over the weekend though, we did do sort of a special drop in because we had something that well, we're gonna get to that later. So never mind. We'll get to that later. Um we'll do our Dr. Roberts story follow up later. But let's get into some of this other stuff first, child. Do you want to start with Harvard or do you want to start with Fairfax?
Let's start with Harvard.
Well, this is a story we've been following for a while. So let's just go on and add another let's go on and add another level into this, child. Lord, look, now I gotta find out which one. Excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. All right, here we go. So this is coming from WCVB 5. Trump says his administration is close to reaching a deal with Harvard. If you guys don't remember, or if you however you remember it, Trump and Harvard have been going back and forth since January, since he took over with the whole, DEI and threatening to cut funding. And Harvard was like, hit us with your best shot. And then Harvard sued Trump and they sort of won. And so now I guess this is where we are with it. So let's read through this article, you guys. This is coming from the AP and it was last updated at 5:30 this morning. So here we go. President Donald Trump said Tuesday that his administration is close to reaching a deal with Harvard University, which it has targeted with a series of investigations and billions of dollars of funding cuts as it presses for changes to its policies and governance. A truce with the country's oldest and wealthiest college would end a clash that has tested the independence of America's colleges. Trump came into office saying he would cut funding for schools that defied his agenda, vowing to eliminate wokeness. His pressure campaign zeroed in on the Ivy League institutions, and after it rebuffed his demands, Trump initially said a deal had been reached, but then said officials were close to finalizing the agreement. We haven't done it yet, said the White House. So basically, they're lying, which we're sort of used to. Trump said the agreement includes a $500 million payment from Harvard that will be used to create a giant trade school. A series of trade schools that will be run by Harvard.
I found this on the web.
Oh, Lord. Siri, stop.
Check it out.
Siri, stop. Why does she keep coming on? Anyway. Trump said the agreement includes a $500 million payment from Harvard that will be used to create a giant trade school. I know I read that, but I had to read that again because I'm confused. A series of trade schools that will be run by Harvard. Trump described it as an investment to revive trade schools and produce workers for American plants.
Mm-hmm.
Quote,
Mm-hmm. You read
they're,
it. Mm-hmm.
quote, they're going to be teaching people how to do AI and lots of other things, said Trump. Harvard and the White House did not immediately respond to requests for comment. A deal would open the door to a resolution. I went too far. I'm sorry. A deal. Lord, I'm sorry, y'all. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Oh, there it is. A deal would open the door to a resolution of sanctions that have included cuts to more than 2.6 billion with a B in Harvard's research grants, losses of federal contracts, and efforts to cut the school's ability to enroll foreign students. Trump's administration has accused Harvard of tolerating anti-Semitism, particularly during last year's protests over the Israel-Hamas war. In a letter to Harvard, federal officials said the campus was overrun by impermissible multi-week encampment that left Jewish and Israeli students fearful and disrupted their studies. Harvard President Alan Garber has acknowledged problems with anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bias on campus, but said Harvard has taken strides to fight prejudice. Earlier this month, a federal judge in Boston ordered the Trump administration to reverse the cuts to research funding, ruling the cuts amounted to illegal retaliation for Harvard's rejection of the administration's demands. The government had tied the funding freeze to Harvard's handling of anti-Semitism allegations, but the judge said the university's federally backed research had little connection to discrimination against Jews. Harvard in April became the first university to openly defy the administration's sweeping demands, sparking an escalating fight and mounting sanctions from the administration. Even as Harvard fought the White House and court, both sides have been meeting to negotiate a resolution to the impasse. Trump has previously signaled that a deal with Harvard was close, only to see weeks pass with no resolution to the standoff. Some faculty have urged against any deal with the White House, saying it would cede independence to a government that has overstepped its bounds. The administration previously reached settlement agreements that with Columbia and Brown universities to resolve civil rights investigations and restore their federal research funding.
Here's my question. My question is I don't even know if it's a question really, be because you know how I feel like we're driving in a car and somebody cut the brake lines. And we are seeing this intersection coming, and it has heavy traffic on the intersection, big semis and everything. We're going downhill, careening toward like one of those San Francisco hills, careening toward this intersection. The driver trying to press the brakes, the passenger seat is passenger trying to press the brake like the driver's in car, and the whole brake line has been cut. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, when we bought the car, they told us it had the best braking system ever invented in the history of car making, right? And now, with when we actually have a real substantive test of said brake system, we over here pressing, and that brake pedal go all the way to the floor, and ain't nothing stopping. Person over there in the passenger seat, it's like a driver's ed car. They got a brake pedal over there too, just in case, the fail safe. And guess what? We even pulling up the little brake clutch in the middle of the little brake, the heavy brake, the parking brake. Nothing. No slowdown, no stoppage, no delay, no anything. And I said this when we started this with Harvard. If Harvard is bending the knee and the fact that they are giving up curriculum to, I mean, they've given money to this man, they've closed down offices, they've closed down programs that were not involved in the admissions process, but simply put in place to provide assistance to minorities and women and marginalized groups in filling out their application. That's it. They even cut all of those programs. They've cut all of the offices in their campuses that help aid and assist current students that are in minorities or marginalized groups, right? Now they're even capitulating to the point where they have allowed these people to infiltrate the curriculum and the pedagogy. Here's the dangerous part. This is Harvard University, where some would argue the best legal minds and legal scholars are housed, right?
Mhm.
They have some of the best, that's what they will tell you.
Mhm.
Some of the best legal minds on the planet. What that means is they have the money, the personnel, and the resources to actually fight this and win, but they're choosing not to. So at this point, I'm at the stop playing in my face point. Harvard, just go ahead and tell us, well, this is what we wanted to do all the time anyway. Don't try to play the game as if, oh, this is an infringement on what we do here at Harvard. This isn't us. This isn't what we want. No, you have the money, the resources, the personnel, the lawyer. You have everything in place to fight this and win. And instead of fighting it, you are willfully laying down and allowing it to happen to you. I just
So
I don't know any other way to look at it. Really, I'm sorry.
okay. So that's where me and you we're gonna split a little bit. I think they have been fighting it, but there's always negotiation to meet somewhere in the middle. Like, do
Why
I
are we
think?
meeting in the middle? Why are we meeting in the middle? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cut you
No,
off.
I hear you. No, and I understand what you're saying. Well, what I'm saying is they have been fighting it, right? They're one of the few that have been fighting it, and so I think though that at the end of the day, part of the problem is for me when nobody else is on your side. I feel like you got to just take the win where you get the win. And I think that Harvard has is walking away with a win. They're not walking away with 100%. But when you know the Supreme Court isn't on your side, and that's where this is going, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And you know the Supreme Court isn't on your side. And in the interim, while you're fighting it, in the interim, you're constantly losing funding or fighting for funding, and you're losing this and you're losing that. I think that I think that finding a middle ground, I don't I don't feel, let me say this. I'm not as upset with Harvard as I am with some of these other schools that didn't even fight at all. Like I feel like they didn't even try. They were like, oh, okay. With Harvard, Harvard was like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. And I hear what you're saying. I understand where you are, but I just feel like you know where this is going and you know that it's not going to end. It's probably so it's like let's come to the table. Let's figure out, because let's be clear, is Harvard really losing by agreeing to a trade school? Come on now.
Here's
like
my the
like
reason why I'm so it's so problematic for me, because we know the opponent. While it may look like, okay, whew, We gave up a little bit, but if we okay now, this is not going to stop.
I understand you.
And
I get you on that.
they're going to keep saying, "Oh, you gave us that? Well, give us this too. Oh, you gave us that? Well, we'll give us this too." Until you have nothing else to give. That's inevitably, in my opinion, where we're going. They're going to continue to dangle this. Oh yeah, we'll take you to court over your head. We got the Supreme Court. We got all of the circuit courts. Yeah. Come on, until they give up everything, because you know what's going to be next. Really be then they're going to look at, well, I don't like who your president is. I don't like who's
Well,
on
they've
your
already
board.
fired the president. They've
Right.
already done
Well,
that.
they fired Dr. Claudine Gay. They got her out way long time ago. But even the
Yeah.
new president, and then they're going to say, well, we need to be invested in the hiring process. Well, what is the ideology of your professors on campus? It's never going to end. They've shown their hand, and it never. They're going to try to do them like Ron DeSantis did New College in Florida. They're going to try to do the exact same thing. And for those people in the chat that maybe said, what happened with New College in Florida, real 30-second. New College in Florida was a liberal arts college. It was a very liberal college in Florida. It was a state funded school. Ron DeSantis, as governor, went in, fired, cleared house, fired the president, fired the board of trustees, appointed who he wanted, then had the new president pink slip 88% of the faculty and staff, cleared house, put all of his acolytes and sycophants, then went back and changed the admissions process for students that they allow in that university, all to appease him. And so that's the point that I'm making, where they want to have that amount of control over a Harvard University, so every other university willfully bends the knee.
I hear you. And I just listen. Please don't think I don't understand where you're coming from. I do, but I also I don't know. I'm tired. Maybe I'm tired, and I don't mean physically. I'm saying I'm tired of this. Like my brain. I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't even know how to articulate myself.
Well,
I'm
no,
tired.
Fanny Lou, where you say you sick and tired.
That's it. I'm
Of
sick and
sick and
tired of being
tired.
sick and tired. I don't even know how else to articulate my thoughts anymore because I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired. I am tired. You know, and I hear what you're saying, but I am so tired. I'm just tired. All right. Do we want to talk about Fairfax County now?
Yeah,
So
we can go
Big Ant in the chat said, have y'all heard about Project Esther at the college?
I am aware of Project Esther and what that is. I haven't really, at least me, I haven't looked at how the implementation of that at colleges, but I am aware of Project Esther and what it is.
I got you. All right. Let's get into the Fairfax of it all, child. Let's just before my brain blows up, let's just get into it, child. And this is in my backyard. Fairfax County is right down the road. Ain't that far, child. Matter of fact, I do work in Fairfax County, El Teddy. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. For the state of Virginia. You understand. All right, excuse me. Education Department orders Fairfax County schools to investigate abortion claims. And this is September the 29th from the Washington Post. I mean, NBC Washington. That's our channel. That's our NBC affiliate here. The U.S. Department of Education ordered Fairfax County Public Schools to investigate claims that a school social worker helped a high school student get an abortion during the 21-22 school year. The department said Monday that it initiated an enforcement action against the school district under the Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment. The department says this action follows claims that a Centerville High School social worker reportedly scheduled, an appointment for a 17-year-old student, paid the required clinic fees, and swore the girl to secrecy without informing the parents. The department also cited a claim that a second student was allegedly pressured by that same social worker to have a procedure as well, and the social worker reportedly telling her she had no other choice and directing her to the same clinic for that procedure, which the student did not ultimately undergo. Under under PPRA, schools must notify parents of an invasive physical examination and allow parents to opt their children out of such a procedure. It shocks the conscious to learn that school personnel in Fairfax have allegedly exploited their positions of trust to push for these services on students without parental knowledge or consent. The Department of Education Acting General Counsel Candace Jackson said in a statement. Candace Jackson? That sounds like one of us. The department said FCPS must investigate and provide a written response by October the 17th. FCPS already launched its own internal investigation and hired an outside law firm to investigate. On August the 13th, Governor Glenn Youngkin asked Virginia State Police to investigate as well. FCPS said in a statement on Monday, quote, FCPS has received the latest Department of Education letters requesting information and welcomes the opportunity to answer the DOE's questions. Based on our ongoing review of these 2021 allegations, we want to reiterate that such conduct would be completely unacceptable in Fairfax County Public Schools. Although there's also an ongoing state police investigation, we are committed to cooperating to the fullest extent possible with the DOE's inquiry. FCPS remains focused on our commitment to academic excellence and opportunity for each and every student in a safe and welcoming environment. What say you?
I do not trust this Department of Education at all. I'm going to start there. I have zero to no trust in the Department of Education as it is made up right now. And for you to even if I go with every single thing that they are alleging is 100% the way they said it was, we are talking about a situation from the year of our Lord 2021. 2021, some 4 years ago. That's a whole election cycle ago. And my thing about it is, because where are we going to stop? Are we going to look into every blue school district and go back 4, 6, 8 years and try to pinpoint this one thing that I can utilize and say, oh, that's going to be the thing that I'm going to use to say we're snatching everything from you? Because that's what we're going to have happen. And if that were the case, really be, let's be clear. That happened 4 years ago. That child is clearly probably no longer in school, K through 12 education anymore. But let's be clear. Had a child had their school force them into one of those procedures, don't you understand, really, being that they would be screaming, that they would use that as the case to shut down education everywhere? Glenn Youngkin, who's trying to upend public schools in Virginia and has been doing a pretty decent job. Remember, he went with a half-wit parent that wanted to get Toni Morrison's book and got Toni Morrison's book banned in Virginia because her son, who never read the book and never did the assignment, just said, I don't want to read it. And they got a whole book banned for that. If a child, not one, but 2 children had that procedure forced on them by a public school employee in the manner with which they are alleging that this happened back in 2021, we would have heard about it. Really, be that kind of stuff, it does not get swept under the rug. If Fairfax County they're saying that we're already having an investigation that is either still open or has happened. The police also, according to them, in that last statement, has been involved. I refuse to believe, really, being that something of that magnitude, hell, you would have Republican lawmakers running on that in Virginia. They would be running on that, really. You know they would. There is, and now, if that is true, certainly the a person that is the allegations are made toward certainly would be investigated. They will be put on suspension and ultimately fired within 4 years. It doesn't take 4 years to do this kind of investigation, really. Be I've never seen a school district take 4 whole years to do this kind of event. They might have changed superintendents and school board members in that time, principals, personnel, all kinds of things. Some just don't pass the sniff test. I do not trust the U.S. World Wrestling Entertainment, the U.S. Department of Education.
So here's my 2 cents. And again, I'm gonna have to have a different opinion on this. First of all, if a school social worker did this, that is 100% unacceptable. Full stop.
100%.
Here's what I think has happened. Similar to the situation that happened in Virginia as it related to the male student that was accused of assaulting a young lady in the bathroom, and they turned that into like a whole transgender issue, right? Here's what I believe happened. I believe that there may have been an incident reported. Fairfax County Schools did an investigation, and either it was unfounded or they resolved it however they felt the need to resolve it. Governor Glenn Youngkin and this new Department of Education has now inserted themselves for the exact thing you just said, to use it as an example of all the horrible things that are going on in the public school system, right? I think that there might be some smoke with this fire as it relates to the story, but I think that it's already been resolved or has been, like you said, this was 4 years ago. What school system, the only way I could see them currently investigating this is if that person is still employed with the schools. But what, like you said, that child is no longer in the school system. And did the child come back 4 years later, who's now an adult, and say, hey, this person did this to me? Because that's what's missing from this article. How did this get on the radar? And how in the hell did it get to the Department of Education? Because the last I checked, this ain't even something the Department of Education
would even look into.
And remember, we told you guys that the first thing that the Department of Education did was gut the Civil Rights Office. So,
but magically, they got time for this.
Right. So who filed a complaint? And where did they file it? So did this young lady come back and file a complaint with Fairfax County Schools? Because how the hell did it get to McMahon? That's what I want to know. See, that's my question. My question is, how did we get here from something that allegedly happened 4 school years ago? That's what I want to know. And where is this social worker allegedly? And I'm with you. Now, the one thing I do agree with, I don't trust nothing that's coming out of this Department of Education. I don't trust nothing. So I'm not going to take their word for it that this is what happened. I want to know, I need a timeline. When was this incident first reported? Who was it reported to? What was done about it? How the hell did it get to the Department of Education? And why are they concerned? Because again, last I checked, how does that become their business? Now you can break. Let's just assume we're living in regular times, right? Let's just assume we're not living in this alternate universe that we're living in right now, under a regular Department of Education, under a regular government right now. How does this get to the Department of Education?
But Fairfax County Public School said they hired an outside law firm to look into this.
But I want to know the timeline of that. When did they do that and why did they do that? Is this standard operating procedure or are you doing this from pressure from the governor? You see what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Because I mean,
Exactly.
I've worked in multiple school systems and you've worked in multiple school systems, and let's just call a thing a thing. We've heard some stories about things that teachers allegedly did, social workers, alleged counselors allegedly. We've heard some stories. When did it get to the point where the school systems are hiring outside law firms for a situation that happened 4 years ago? Now, is this student coming back and suing? That's another conversation. But that's not in the article.
And I don't even think, even if that's the case, really be is that even in the purview or jurisdiction of the U.S. Department of
That's what I still
Education.
don't understand how I got there. In the words of Ebby, aka Deborah Cox, how did we get here? Because I still don't know how we got there. Now, call me crazy. I still don't know how we got there.
I mean, we did start off saying that I was the same one, so we can call you crazy.
No, you said you were the same one. That's not what I said. That is not what I said. You said you were the same one. I never said I was the same. That you were the same one. I'm the same one. In this here scenario,
I'm the
it is
same
I.
one.
Moving right along. Y'all, I'm gonna try to see if I can get some more information locally on this thing, because this thing don't. Again, I need a timeline. I need to know where we started, how we started, and how we got here. It's a lot to this story that's missing. Because do you know how many steps you have to go through before it gets to the Department of Education? And even like the Office of Civil Rights deals with gender. I guess maybe this will fall under gender. I don't know.
Something doesn't pass the sniff test here.
Absolutely not. Before we get into our next two articles, El Teddy, if you don't, I can. Do you want to give the background on what because we're going to get into an update on Dr. Roberts, but do you want to give sort of a little recap of how we got the who, the what, the when, the where, and the how, or how we got here with Dr. Roberts?
Sure.
I mean, if you like I said, I can. I just didn't know if
No,
you
it's
might
no
have a little more
problem.
insight,
Dr. Ian Roberts, I can say now was the superintendent of schools for the Des Moines public school system. Um, he had been there since 2023. He was vetted. He was went through. They
That's
had a
important that he was vetted, y'all. That's
he was
important.
vetted. They went through a agency that does this process where they go and solicit, candidates for these types of positions. Des Moines Public School System is the largest school district in the state of Iowa. So, as you can probably imagine, they're giving a lot of monies. And I want to add this part, and this is my own little part that I'm adding to it. This is Des Moines, Iowa. Iowa, that does not look like this for the most part. And please understand, when they went through that process, that selection process and vetting process with the that they went through, I can venture to tell you, and really B will probably agree with me, for positions that high in that type of a state and or school district, where that's the largest school district, meaning they're probably going to have the highest salary of any school district personnel within the state. They're not looking for the most parts to give it to us. I'm gonna just put that out there. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Now, he had been working with them for some time. Up until last week, Friday, when he was arrested by ICE. ICE rolled up on him. According to ICE, allegedly, he tried to run away and fled into the woods
I don't
and
believe none
all
of
of
that.
that. I don't believe any parts of that, but that's what ICE says. They say they found $3,000 in his car, which I don't think it's illegal to have money in your car.
I checked. That wasn't illegal.
They also found a gun and a knife, I believe.
Don't believe that.
That's what they're alleging.
I
But
know. I'm just saying.
if that's the case, y'all are the same ones who scream every day about the Second Amendment and your
You.
right to carry whatever you need to carry and have
Mm-hmm.
whatever, but only when it fits their narrative.
Mm-hmm.
He's still in ICE detention. This past Saturday, the school district put him on the next day, which was this past Saturday. The school board voted to put him on paid leave. This past Sunday, the Department of Education and Examiners, whatever it's called in Iowa, they voted to revoke his certification. And then this past Monday, the school board then voted to put him on unpaid suspension, which they said was that wasn't something that they had a choice on. That was the law since his license was revoked. Um, that's what they told. That's what they said. Now, I don't want to get into any more updates because we do have the updates and they'll be in the articles, but that is where we are now.
All
Now
right.
they're saying that he was arrested because there was a notice to appear or some type of immigration status, that a letter about his immigration status last year in May of 2024. Um and there was notification that his legal status may be revoked then. um, but this is, if we're to believe 100% of what ICE and DHS is telling us. And then I think I got everything right.
All right. So let's get into the update. So the first update, you want to start with the PhD or you want to start with the investigation?
Start with the investigation.
All right. So let's get into the investigation on Dr. Roberts. And I'm going to keep calling him doctor. How about that? So this is coming from KORG Channel 9 affiliate out of Des Moines. You, Justice Department launches investigation into Des Moines Public Schools hiring practices. This was published September the 30th. The Justice Department launched an investigation into Des Moines, Iowa public schools for alleged racial discrimination in its employment practices. The Department of Justice is looking into whether the district's practices discriminate based on race, color, and national origin in violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. The district's hiring goal is for teaching and learning staff to align with the student population regarding demographics and cultural responsivity, according to its website. The release states that Des Moines Public Schools implemented quotas to hire a greater number of teachers of color in its affirmative action plan. DEI initiatives and race-based hiring practices in our schools violate federal anti-discrimination laws and undermine educational priorities, says Assistant Attorney General Hermit Killian of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. School districts must cease these unlawful programs and restore merit-based employment practices for the benefit of both students and employees. This comes after Des Moines Superintendent Dr. Ian Roberts resigned Tuesday. Why did they say he resigned, LT?
He did.
But I'm saying they made it seem like, you know, anyway.
Yeah. Well,
After being detained by ICE last week for being in the country illegally and in the possession of a loaded handgun.
so
I can see clearly now the rain is gone.
they probably. I'm gonna tell you how this. You know how we talked about when this administration came in and they put certain words in the Google search engine
Mm-hmm.
and said, "Oh, you got this word? That must be DEI."
Mm-hmm.
What they're going to start doing now is they're going to start going through these school districts and say, "Wait a minute. You got a black superintendent making that much money? in charge of that much must be DEI hiring practices.
Mm-hmm.
And now that will for them get the ball rolling, because to them, anybody in a position of power that is black or some other minority or marginalized group or a woman or LGBT, they cannot for it by any stretch of the imagination have earned that position. No. So
Mm-mm.
now instead of instead of telling them we only want white people, they force the school district's hand and say, oh, we're going to do an investigation into your hiring practices.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're hiring black people, you're hiring Hispanics, Native American. Oh my God, there must be quotas, because there's no way we could believe that when everything's merit based, a black person, a Hispanic person, an indigenous Native American person don't have the merits to be white. And the only merit this is based on is whiteness. So you must have quotas and you must have hired people based on DEI and race-based hiring practices. So now that we see this person, because this, remember I told y'all from the beginning, this is lily white ass Iowa. Where do the Republicans have their first primaries? Well, they don't. They're not called primaries there. But when you're running for office, really be
Caucuses.
where do you go first?
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Lily white ass Iowa. And the largest school district, I can probably venture to tell you, if you're in the largest school district in a state, your salary is no less than maybe
They said it was
200.
200 or something thousand.
Yeah,
One of the
it's no
articles
less
I
than
read
200K.
said it. It was
Yeah,
200 or
it's
something
no
thousand.
less than 200K.
Yeah.
Now, even though that there are people who make higher, but there's no way you're gonna have this black person. No, 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 no. Because let's be clear, if it wasn't some immigration situation, they would have found something else. They will then go on the search and the hunt to find any reason to say that person shouldn't be there. Let me snatch them out of this position and let's go ahead. And they did that with Dr. We just talked about Harvard. They did that with Dr. Claudine Gay, where they made up some stuff about her dissertation that her dissertation board, her recommending professors said was absolutely incorrect. But they concoct these things and these stories to fit their narrative. They will tell lies, they will tell fallacies and fabricate things. People will believe them. They will pressure the people in positions of power, and they will get these people out of there. So now, so that Iowa wouldn't dream of thinking about hiring another black person to that position, now they're saying, yeah, because we got a whole investigation that we need to do on y'all. Because I know you don't believe that you're going to hire another black person, not in no lily white Iowa. Because guess what may happen? That black person may actually educate children and teach generation and be responsible to see that generations of children are taught that we are all human, that everybody should be equal, that we should have an equitable society. And we damn sure do not want that. So certainly we cannot have a black person at the helm of the education system in Iowa. Why would we do that? And so what did the Iowa education department do? They bent the knee quickly, because their governor is an acolyte and sycophant of Donald John. Their state legislature is filled with acolytes and sycophants of Donald John. And so they went to that deal of that Department of Education, that State Department of Education, that said, I know you're not. I know you're not going to cause a problem between Iowa and this administration. This must go away quickly. And here we are.
Uh, yeah, ditto. See, we're gonna agree on this. Ditto. I agree. I don't even think I had nothing else to add to that. I'm with you on that one. I mean, I just all of this just smells like 3 day old fish to me. It just stinks. And again, I think that article explains it all. If anybody had any question about what happened, why it happened, and all of the things, I think that article should have cleared it right on up for you. I don't know. All right. You want to go to the next article?
Because now that we're careening down the hill, the smear campaign is all
Oh,
on.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, they gotta. We have to justify this. Oh yes, 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 yes. So
Exactly.
now we
Quake
have
said
to.
the same thing is happening in Houston. She said the DOJ is investigating the city of Austin. I'm sorry, I said Houston. I mean Austin. For the same things, we have a black city manager, a gay CFO, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's get into this article. And somebody sent this to me. One of our faithful listeners, they listen on Apple, on the podcast through Apple. So shout out to my girl Hickey. I'm gonna just say that she know who I'm talking to. She is a faithful listener. She's been listening since day one, and she'll send me messages and stuff like that. So she sent me this article the other yesterday actually. So this is coming from the AP. Iowa district hired superintendent despite false Morgan State doctorate claim on his resume. The superintendent of Iowa's largest school district, who was detained last week by immigration agents, falsely claimed a doctoral degree when applying for the job 2 years ago, but was hired even after the school board learned about the misrepresentation. Ian Roberts, who immigration authorities say was living and working in the U.S. illegally and who resigned this week as Des Moines superintendent of schools, claimed in his 2023 application that he received a doctorate in urban educational leadership from Morgan State in 2007. According to documents the Associated Press obtained through public records requests, although Roberts was enrolled in the doctoral program from 2002 to 2007, the school's public relations office, confirmed in an email that he didn't receive that degree. It declined to say which degree requirements he hadn't met. The Des Moines School Board learned before pop up, hold on. The Des Moines School Board learned before hiring Roberts that he hadn't received the degree, but it still chose him to lead the district, which serves about 30,000 students. As part of the background check process that was done at the time, it indicated that he did not complete, but he did begin the degree from Morgan State. He and the board declined to comment further about how the information was handled at the time. Robert, who was challenging the order to deport him to his native Guyana, remained jailed Wednesday in Sioux County. When asked to comment on Robert's false application claim, his attorney, Alfred Parrish, said he was looking into the matter and would discuss it with his client. The job profile on the web archive of JG Consulting, a firm district hired to assist in the 2023 superintendent search, said applicants must have a master's degree and at least 30 hours of graduate work in administration. Roberts appears to have met those requirements. In his application materials, Roberts also wrote that he had a doctorate in educational leadership from the Trident American University, obtained in 2021. Reuters said the board's background check confirmed that Roberts did receive that degree from the online school, though it's called Trident University International. A school official declined to comment. The false claim on Roberts' resume may not have been legally disqualifying, but it may have raised concerns about his integrity, education administration experts said. That's a pretty big discrepancy, said Sakita Jubo, managing partner of the School of Liability Expert Group in New Jersey, firm that provides expertise witness. I think red flags would go up for the district if they are making a misrepresentation on their CV. This is the person of moral character. They are going to be in charge of the district, money, funds, people's lives. Is this someone we want to hire? When detaining Roberts, U.S. immigration. Okay, all right. This is just repeating stuff we already know. According to Parrish, Roberts was under the impression from a prior attorney that his immigration case was resolved successfully. Parrish's law firm has filed a request to stay Roberts' deportation with immigration court in Omaha, Nebraska. He described a very complex case that will take time to investigate, but acknowledges Roberts could face deportation at any moment. Parrish confirmed that his client was born in Guyana, but he didn't say whether Roberts had ever applied for U.S. citizenship or legal permanent residency, or when he was authorized to work in the U.S., or what happened during removal proceedings that resulted in the final order of removal last year. All right. And then it just goes on to say that other things on his resume was confirmed. Okay, hold on. It says a Pennsylvania settlement. After he got the Des Moines job before the term began, Roberts was at the center of a costly personnel settlement involving his treatment of a key subordinate and longtime colleague. It was intended to be kept secret. The former director of human services for the Mill Creek Township School District, Melody Ellington, claimed that she faced unspecified unlawful treatment after she was hired by and worked for Roberts from July 1st of 2021 through September 30th of 2022. The two previously worked together in St. Louis public schools from 2015 to 2018, where Ellington was budget director and Roberts was a network superintendent. A settlement agreement states that Ellington claimed she was unfairly pushed out of her job and that she had threatened litigation. While district administrators denied wrongdoing, the district agreed to pay Ellington $250,000 as part of an agreement requiring that she, Roberts, and other officials would not disparage each other. Roberts started the Des Moines job on July 1st. Ellington and her lawyer didn't respond to messages seeking comment in the settlement, which had a non-disclosure provision, but was obtained by the Erie Times late July 2023 through public records law. At the time, Roberts told the Des Moines Register that he couldn't comment on the settlement, but noted it wasn't the reason he left Mill Creek and accepted the Des Moines job. He said the school board felt it was in the school district's best interest to approve the settlement. The Des Moines School Board chair at the time said the board did not know about the settlement during his hiring process, but it became public afterwards. So, if I'm reading the article correctly, he does have his doctorate. He just didn't get it from Morgan, which is what he has on his resume.
That whole settlement with the Pennsylvania, first of all,
that could be anything.
And he doesn't even fire people. That's a school board situation. When you're that high, that has to go before the board. The board has to approve any school. I mean, that's common knowledge. Any school board has to approve. Hell, a regular teacher, they have to be fired by a vote of the school board.
My principal cannot fire me. My principal can do paperwork. My principal can make the recommendation, but my principal does not have the authority to fire me.
That's something that has to go through the board. There has to be investigations there. So the way they tried to write that article as if he was the direct, he fired the woman and they had to go and clean it up and say, that's not how school districts work at all. And so to me, that article, there was a piling on at the end to try to make it look more salacious than it was. That's not how any of that works. And that would have no bearing on you going somewhere else, because if she was fired, it was approved by the board, by a whole investigation. And they're separate investigators. He doesn't
have authority over whether they decide to settle a case either. He don't have nothing to do with that.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
It's like they just going through the garbage can at this point.
Yeah, they just look, oh, you were superintendent when so-and-so got fired? Oh, okay. Next thing we go here, oh, you were standing on the block when little Shanika fell off her bike and scraped her knee and you laughed with the other people? Oh, you're horrible. I mean, where do we stop?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the discrepancy was with his resume, right? But it would be a different let me say this. Whatever the discrepancy was, his explanation must have satisfied the board enough that they were cool, right? They
But
still hired
not
him.
even the board really be. There was a independent selection committee for him. That those independent
Yeah.
selection committees, they do
But what I'm saying is,
background
whatever
checks.
his explanation was, it must have been a legitimate one and it satisfied them because he still got the job. Like, they knew about this before they hired him. They didn't find out about this after they hired him. They knew that there was a discrepancy before he got hired. But the discrepancy isn't whether he has a doctorate. The discrepancy is the school where he got the doctorate from.
From
Now, the way that article, the headline, it make you think the man didn't have a doctorate. He does. He
and
don't have
then
it
for
from
them,
Morgan.
and they tried to make it sound more nefarious with the Pennsylvania thing because the Des Moines was like, well, we didn't know about it until now. Well, you wouldn't because there was an NDA signed. They said that there was a whole NDA
Right. And
signed.
that's why
He couldn't
nobody,
talk about
right.
it.
That lady and her attorney are not gonna call you back. Because she's still sitting on her 250K. She all right.
So
So that's the update, you guys. Now, I will say this. I do want to know once we obviously once we get more information, I do want to know the discrepancy with his attorney because he said, according to his attorney, that he thought of what he thought his immigration situation was resolved. He had an attorney. According to what his current attorney is saying, is that he did have an attorney and he thought the situation was resolved. And so my question would be, how did you think it was resolved? What did your attorney tell you? And what paperwork do you have? Because I mean, I don't mean any harm, but my immigration status ain't something that you just gonna say word of mouth over the phone, and I'm gonna be like, oh, all right, then cool. Like I need to know. I need the paperwork. I need to see it. So it would be interesting to know what his attorneys told him and what he really thought versus, you know what I mean?
they, like I said, they are. It's like they do with all of these things. They're trying to make up things for a problem that's not there. They're just looking for things now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's what they're doing.
absolutely.
When we see what this is all about racism. It is.
Oh, we know exactly what it is. For that big black man to look the way he looked, talking, how
Mm-hmm.
dare he dare come and talk to our kids?
Yeah, how dare he?
And
I
I
mean,
and I bet you if we do some real research, if we had like if the NAACP newspaper still, did some real stories, I bet you if they went down there, they found out that he probably ruffled some feathers and he probably pissed some people off down there.
and say, "Oh yeah, we will have Black History Month. We will." Oh, they'll learn about Native American history because there's a huge Native American population here in Iowa. Oh, we're gonna learn. Oh yeah, and now reports are coming out that this all originally stemmed from. Now, where it originally stemmed from was he made a statement and said, "I'm not going to allow ICE to enter the
I heard that.
classrooms
Mm-hmm.
and snatch up students out of the classroom. We will not be doing that." And once he said that, that's all MAGA nuts needed. Now you got somebody that missed their calling in the CIA and FBI because they're going to go. Because I guarantee you, somebody went and called ICE. Somebody went and called all of these people because if he was that much of a person that was should have been out of here, or yeah, we're getting him out of here, they would have been sent him on. He would have been going already. They've been getting rid of all of the people already a long time. Long time. This happened because they want people to be in fear. These people are terrorists and they want people to be in fear and they want people to preemptively bend the knee to their will. And when he said, "No, I'm not going to have these people roll up in here and snatch up my students like that. I can't. No, I'm not going to do that." They said, "Oh, you're not? Yeah, bro. We'll get you up out of here. Don't worry. We're getting up in there." And that's what they say. "Oh, we're going to get up in there with or without you in the way." And that's what we have here.
Yeah. All right, well, we got to get you over there. Your one of your head hall
Hall monitor.
monitors is keeping you on time. So we're gonna get you out of here. That was our last story anyway. So you guys, thank you guys for being here as always. Please continue to support the channel. If you can go back in and watch some old episodes, or just let them play in the background, child, so we can get our watch time hours up, so we can get what we trying to get by the end of the year, honey. We got some goals over here by the end of the year. Um, any final words, Doc?
We're back.
Back like we never left. All right, y'all, we out. This would be like an outro we could have.